So, this is the one they've been waiting for. We've got a couple of mega guests today, haven't we?
We've got a couple of mega guests.
Like, off the hook.
Like, they could have their own show. They're that big.
I know them really well. I've worked with both of them. One of them's a bit of a prick.
And the other one is me.
Right, so welcome to Finding Billboard.
Have we started?
We have started, yeah.
Okay, so I will do the intro then.
Yeah, sorry. I'm going to eat off mic and Flapjack while you're doing that.
Okay. Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Billboard. It's not normally me doing the first thing you hear. It's normally Hugh, but we've got a bit of a change to our program today. Unfortunately, our booked guest is unwell, so we wish them well, and we will definitely get them back on again soon for another booking in the studio. So we've got something slightly out of the ordinary. We've got two guests on today who have stepped in at the last minute, which is fantastic. You know,
this is really good, mate. I'm fucking impressed.
You like this? See, I'm just going. The first one, amazing writer, creative with maybe 200 years experience. We're going to be talking to our very own Hugh Todd.
Mate, it's a pleasure to be here.
Oh, it's so good to have you on. We've been waiting. Oh, no, hold on. You've been on every episode.
These flapjacks are great.
You made those flapjacks as well. You made your own flapjacks. So, listeners, if you don't want to listen to me and Hugh bleat on for the next half an hour, feel free to tune out now and go and listen to something else. But we're going to be talking about the state of the industry a bit more. We're going to be talking about creativity, all the lovely things that you're used to from our podcast. And we're going to be talking to each other about it and what's going on in our lives. We don't do that enough, actually, do we? I mean, we do in the pub and over coffee and sandwiches and catty rolls up the road, but
yeah,
we don't do it on air enough.
So you wonder if there is an audience for it.
I mean, we're going to find out, aren't we? We do get all of the stats on
JJ's going to go, something weird happened in February.
Something happened. We just gained 20,000 followers. It's amazing.
Right,
Hugh,
yeah, go for it.
The first thing we do on this show, I don't know if you've realised this, is big you up, which I've just done.
Yeah. Didn't mention any of the awards or stuff like that.
I mean,
like
it goes without saying,
yeah,
right?
Mate, okay, fine. You know, innovation.
Loads of that. Yeah. All that. All the metal that's on your wall.
Stuff, yeah.
Let's talk about how you are and what you're up to at the moment.
Well, what am I up to at the moment? I am... this feels really strange.
Does it?
But these poor fuckers who come in and we ask these questions. What am I up to? So, finished at Neverland, which was ace. I think we've recorded that, and we're going to go back actually in March.
Yeah, we are. Yeah.
So you asked me what I'm doing. What we're doing is we're going back in March to give a talk, our first ever talk, which will be a good dummy run, I think, for when we go into other agencies, hopefully, and talk about what we do. And I've got a good little structure. I've got some quite good ideas.
Excellent.
How we do that. I've also been preparing, this is another thing which you're doing, the British Airways special with Nils and the gang at Uncommon. And again, I think we started to approve the structure of that, but that's going to be really good. And I did realise somewhere that a very good team I work with at VCP called Tom and Christopher on a not super exciting project on eBay, but we won it, but then we lost it for some reasons beyond our control. They were a very good team, and then they left and went to Uncommon and worked on BA.
Right.
I think did a lot of the good stuff there. So I'm sort of hoping they can be involved in our chat. But then I have read subsequently that Tom had left, gone to the BBC Creative, and now he's just got the gig at ITV Creative as ECD.
Wow.
So that was a little bit of a kind of update in news. But I remember reading somewhere, I know who it was who told me this, Rachel Miles, who we're going to have on from Meanwhile in a few weeks, I hope. She's friends with Christopher because I told her about BA. You know, it's such a tiny business, and she said he'll be there. So hopefully that's the BA thing will be really cool. On a personal level, I went skiing.
Yeah.
Not for long. Rachel and I have got these lovely friends who seem to have an inordinate amount of money. And they've got a ski chalet and various other things. So we make use of that.
Friends with the right people. I like that.
Yeah, mate. Yeah, that's why we're doing this. But related to that, I went through Geneva Airport, so I could talk about that.
Yeah, you could
in a minute.
But isn't there another big personal project?
And there's one really small thing coming
It's a big project. Let's not. Let's.
Well, it's big,
Let's
but
give you the airtime.
It's
Come on.
It's on fucking pause again. Oh god, it's so tiring. If anyone's out there who's writing or written a book, my heart goes out to you because I've written a book which I thought was the hard bit. No way. So I'm trying to.
What's the actual hard bit? The spell check or something?
Yeah. Well, the tech bit I had to open the file. The hard bit is, joking aside, getting it finished.
Right.
Finding a publisher, getting it finished, and then getting endorsements.
Right.
And getting a cover and all. So if I was really clever and a really good writer, I'd have got my job published through, Penguin or HarperCollins. But the problem with that, not the problem with that is, but you need an agent.
Right.
You need to have time, because I think someone said to me the average wait time you might be 18 months.
Wow.
Because you have to, get an agent, go to publishers, get someone interested, hook them in, and then apparently there's a backlog still from COVID and books already in the system, so you'd have to join that system unless you're fucking amazing, which I'm sadly not. Well, getting there, but you kind of go. Then I found out about this thing called hybrid publishing. So
right.
you can. It's basically a halfway house. You pay a little bit, and the publishing company pay a bit, and together you create a book. So it's not traditional. It's not self-publishing, as in literally, printing your own work. There is rigor around, the edit and the proofread.
And then the publisher helps you market.
Yeah. I mean, the people I'm with are okay, but I'm very aware I'm going to be doing it myself a bit. So I've got a mate to do the front cover. So Dave Bonagidi, who was on our show,
yep,
the real Hackney Dave, as he's known, very kindly has been working with me on that.
That's nice.
So that's cool. And then actually just this week, I'm speaking to a designer mate of mine who's going to look at the cover, as in how it all the stuff gets put together on the back. But then I realised I need to get an endorsement. So if anyone's famous listening and wants to endorse my book, I'll fucking love you forever.
The more famous, the better.
More famous, better.
More famouser.
But they need to be sort of somewhere around North London, near Clissold Park, because that's what the book's about. It's set in Clissold Park. It's a novel set in Clissold Park. So I'm looking for people around the area. So at the moment, variously, this is hilarious. Ed Balls apparently goes running in the park, and he's a mate, my daughter's boyfriend's neighbour's dad, right?
Wow.
That's a bit of a stretch, maybe. I don't know.
They know Kevin Bacon as well.
Yeah, I think
probably
about
seven levels,
six or seven handshakes away. But it's things like that. But then you go, and because it'll be great because he does run in the park, and he's obviously very well known. Mm-hmm. But then there's without going into it, I've got a whole massive list. But then to get to them, you have to get hold of something called an advance copy. So it's actually a copy of the book, which is rough. It's not the finished one, but it's pretty good. And so I'm trying to get my advance copies done. And then once you've sent them out, you send 30 or 40 out, you hope that you'll get 2 or 3 people to say something nice. Then you reprint it with it.
With the endorsements in there.
So long roundabout way. It was going to be in May, the launch, and we're going to have a party, and you're very welcome.
Oh, thanks.
Right. We'll do some posters for it.
So some outdoor.
Yeah, some outdoor. So I was going to talk to Dave about whether we can do some posters on it.
We can also speak to our sponsors about getting you some media space.
Mate, get our own very own ad show.
Yeah.
That's it. Fucking hell, that's exciting.
That is really exciting.
So that'll be in the summer. And I think that's it, really, because all my
That's been a major project for you, isn't it?
Major project. And my wife, I mean, God bless that
her.
woman. Yeah. I've already dedicated the book and all other books to her.
Have you written the thing at the beginning?
Yeah, and at the end. Although I keep having to add more and more people at the end in the hope that they'll help me.
Oh, right.
It's so growing. Look, if you do this, I'll mention it at the end. Like, wow, big fucking book. So, yeah, my time is variously spent between doing this with you, working at agencies like Neverland, which was Brill. So I'll be looking for the next one of those. And the book. I mean, the work thing with the Neverland, because I've been approached by several people since then, but there are just things just don't want to, without sounding a cock, just things I don't want to do or don't think I'll be very good at.
Did you enjoy the ECD role, the interim ECD
A lot,
role?
yeah. Yeah, it's really good. Really
good teams as well.
Brilliant. Yeah, brilliant people there. I mean, honestly, to a man, everyone knows, not only all really good and to a man and woman, all brilliant at their jobs and all brilliant people. You know that thing, and just go without sounding. It, honestly, it sounds like a cliche, but it was really great just going in every day. It was a little bit early some days.
Because you're not used to working a 5-day week.
No one is. But it's worth it. And there's one project we can't talk about, but you might be involved with as well. But if it happens, we will be very, very excited.
That's great.
Yeah. So that's me.
So you went skiing a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
You went on an aeroplane, I assume?
I went on an aeroplane and went through some airports.
Let's talk about that, because I've recently done quite a bit of my carbon footprint for the year.
Right. You've planted a few trees.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a big offset thing going on in our business, so we are definitely doing our bit. But let's just focus a bit. Actually, before we do that, the billboard at the end of my street, let's do that, because that's our usual segment, and that will take us into a state of the industry. He's giving me a thumbs up because he's got a mouthful of flapjack, by the way. So on your way here this morning, Hugh, as you got my second text message saying, hey, change your plan, did you manage to spot anything on your way in?
Yeah.
You need to be next to the microphone. I don't know if it's your first time in here, but...
Yeah, I did. It's really disappointing because actually there was something quite good there the other day. Shall I describe it?
Yes, do it. And we'll put this on the feed, obviously.
Jesus, right.
It's Jesus.
It's Jesus. It's called Accounting Software for a Healthy Business. So, I mean, that's the headline. Accounting Software for a Healthy Business. And it just says, woohoo, written in the sky by...
A skywriting plane.
Skywriting something. And then it's Beautiful Business Xero. XERO, none the wiser.
So no? Xero is an accounting software for small businesses. It's zero with an X. That's
you're somebody who knows this.
We used to use that software at Grand Visual before we were acquired by a bigger business.
How do you rate that?
How do I rate the advert, or how do I rate the software? The software is really good.
Is it?
It really is good, and it's a big business. They sponsor Women's World Cup and all sorts of stuff. They're good business. Be creative on that.
Can I be really thick? So is that part of a bigger campaign as well as skywriting?
I think it's about just celebrating the small wins for them. It's like it's some of their the rest of the campaigns about their kind of, we take the headache out of your finances effectively.
Right.
I don't know. It's a bit tenuous. I don't know why there's a skywriting plane on there.
No,
I mean, seen anything that's part of a wider campaign with a skywriting plane.
Yeah, or if I was thinking, and we're really giving them a little bit of help here. If it was every little business had their own little way of writing woohoo.
Yeah.
So they do it in the sky, and then a sign writer does it on the wall. I don't know, but I mean, it's not shit because
it's not shit because it's following. Okay, I'm doing the classic account man,
fingers
account woman, fingers in the air thing.
Yeah.
Like it's got a certain number of words and it's really basic, and it's like, but it is that's part of the problem is it's really basic.
Yeah.
And
well, it's got, like you said, it's got three typefaces. So less than Matt's for the day. It does follow the rules of a headline and then a sort of end line and another end line and then a logo. But there's no sort of pointless, or maybe I was going to say no pointless website or hashtag, but that might have helped me. I don't know.
What I like about their radio advertising, I don't know, this isn't
Go on.
a podcast about radio ads. They always say on the radio ads, they say zero with an X.
Right.
Because they obviously know that the small business owners who listen to the radio, they are then searching for this accounting software, especially in the run up to tax years and stuff. They ramp up their advertising around tax times. That people are searching for it, and they're searching for zero.
Right. So it's a bit of a Hyundai.
Yeah.
Hyundai. I still can't fucking say it. Why don't you just change the name of your brand?
Yeah.
To something decent.
Zero is a good name. Anyway, we're not going to rebrand them.
So what about you? What did you see? So because that
No, let's focus on your opinion of the state of the market. That's the end of your street, and let's go back to your international travel, because I think that is something that we should focus on. We don't do it enough, actually. We do lots of the end of our street and lots of UK creatives, but What was at the end of your street?
Well, look, yeah,
on a
maybe
plane and went to Geneva and then went up into.
Well, I'll do that, and then you maybe bob in with some new.
Good idea. I'll do that when you interview me in the next half.
Excuse me. Yeah, it was weird actually because I mean, we're always. I think you and I are always aware of what's around us, but in your sort of downtime, you kind of go, well, I'm away now, so I'm not going to wang on about billboards or be overly aware. But when I was going through Geneva, we came back and we had a stop off actually because of that storm. Couldn't get home. So it's actually kind of weird. It's not a bad place to be stuck because it's.
Did you have an extra overnight in Geneva?
Extra overnight in this really quite nice hotel. Honestly, they couldn't have been. They could have been nicer. So it was a bit of a bummer, but actually it ended up being quite a laugh. But we were going through the airport and I did think we should do an airport special because, sorry, just as a jumping lane a little bit. Airports, I was thinking on the way in, is that the most concentrated place of posters ever? Because you see so many.
And you've got people stood around for 2 hours, an hour to 2 hours.
So that, I suppose with that in mind, I was walking along going, fucking hell, there's a lot of, there literally are billboard after billboard. And then it was with great sadness. It was awful. They were all for watches, obviously, because it's Switzerland. So you're going, oh yeah, kind of like a lot of watches are made in Switzerland.
It was basic media planning 101.
Yeah, but you kind of go, all right. But because the work was so bad, it was sort of washing over me. And after a while, I was thinking, oh my God, every ad is for a watch.
Have you got an example?
And then every ad was absolute dog shit. Sorry. Sorry to the people who did them. And it wasn't even like...
And some of those watches are tens of thousands.
Yeah, we
pounds,
like a watch.
Right?
So, here we go.
Oh, yeah.
The first thing to notice was there is an absolute template for a watch ad with a celebrity. So the celebrity has to be on the left.
Oh, yeah, I see.
The watch has to be on the right.
Oh, wow.
And in the middle, you say something. So we've got Julia Roberts, looking very Julia Robertsy. In the middle, it says Chopard, which I presume is the name of the watch. And on the right, there's a Chopard watch, yeah?
What's the time on the watch? Please say 10 past 10.
10 past 10. Hey, someone change that. And then, so I went about 20 feet up. I saw David Beckham on the left-hand side. And also the other thing you have to do, you have to put your hand
over your shoulder or on your neck or something on your face. Yeah.
Like you've got, I don't know, like
you're
really
trying to
got a gland
hide
issue.
A bad tattoo. For Beckham.
But he does look good. I've got to say, I'm a Beckham fan. Yeah. And in the middle, it says Tudor. And then weirdly on the right, there's a watch.
What time's it on the watch?
10 past 10.
Oh, good. Nice.
Yay. And so we're going to go for the whole campaign now. There's someone, now I didn't know this person, but I think they must be famous.
Yeah, they're a model.
Okay. It's a beautiful woman.
Beautiful woman.
Very similar to Julia. And again, weirdly, why is she touching her neck?
Touching her neck.
Oh, but there's the watch.
Hiding a love bite.
And then right next to the watch is another massive watch.
Okay, what's the time on the watch?
10 past 10.
Oh, yes!
Yes. And it says Piaget. I'm sure that's not a way to say it. Piaget. Anyway, so you're going, oh my God, like, how is this happening? But then it sort of gets worse because at least I was thinking, all right, well, that's the format. Someone's going to like subvert it, and I'm going to walk along another 20 feet. And actually it just gets shitter.
Oh, yeah, a watch standing on its own with a hot air balloon in the behind.
Yeah.
With an infinite... No, that's a sea vista.
Hold on. What time is it?
Oh! It's 9 minutes past 7.
Yeah. So obviously...
Incredible.
That's a massive mistake.
They've subverted it. They've just gone... But apparently the 10 past 10 is the most beautiful time to see on an analog.
So this one is for Parmigiani. So someone at Parmigiani is probably going to get fired because it didn't do 10 past 10.
Because it wasn't 10 past 10, yeah.
But also there's no celebrity, so they probably ain't got enough money. So what they do is they just don't have a celebrity. They just put the watch massive in the middle.
On a stock image.
And then...
Oh, what's this one?
We're going to put these all up, honestly. We'll get onto another topic in a minute. But it's just...
Oh, Maurice Lacroix.
So it's another...
It's 10 past 10.
In the 10 past 10, but it's a massive watch.
Big watch, and shows the inner workings somehow.
And then I think there's a smaller watch.
Is this all on the same walkway?
Yeah.
Oh my God, it literally is watch after watch. I wonder if they are Or because there's 3 watch groups in the world, and they all have the brands on.
Is that right?
I wonder if they've just do a takeover of Geneva Airport and just go, right, these are watches of Switzerland everywhere, all the different brands.
It's weird because I am actually into watches, and I like a good watch. So I'm kind of into it, and I'm definitely the target market to a certain degree. And yet you go, I don't know, you kind of go.
You think, what's the other reason for being there? I know it's in Switzerland, and I know there's high net worth individuals. There's lots of money in Switzerland. There's people going skiing. It's the ski season, so they're in the market in terms of a richer demographic.
Yeah,
but watches, just. I don't know. It feels, as I say, it feels really basic. It feels
it feels like it's from, 40 years ago. Just put a celeb on.
Is it? Oh yeah. Well, you're going through the airport, so you might be thinking about a watch, and it's tax free, or is it like a whole big purchase? It's
weird though, because also they've got loads of money. These brands.
Yeah.
So it's not like they're struggling, to pay for media or production.
Yeah.
So that's a given. It is a luxury item. But then you go, I don't know. It's like so when we talk about BA, what I love about the campaign is you don't need to show me a plane because I know what those look like, and you don't need to show me a woman or a man leaning over
the tail number of a plane. You don't even show me
what I want you to show, and what they do that. So what BA was they told me the door that the plane opens me to. You know? So that surely everyone knows what a watch looks like, and you must be confident enough to say, I know everyone knows what a Rolex
but I think it's such an iconic. It's a piece of jewelry, right? Actually, the piece I'm going to show you from New York is a jewelry brand who did a big takeover, and I think that's just I think I'd say it's almost like a glamour project for the CMO and the product departments. Like this is the most beautiful watch we've ever made. We have to show it in all its glory. So stick it on a billboard.
Yeah. Although why didn't
make it say 10:10?
Why don't they go? We'll buy 4, and the 4th one will have that on, and the 3 will have some, because that would be an interesting thing to our listeners and followers. What has been a good watch brand campaign? Fallon did one years ago when Richard and Andy were running it, and I think can I get this wrong? I'm thinking it was for Timex, but it might not. But it said headlines like, "Yesterday was a bit of a slow day." But in fact, it wasn't, and it just shows a picture of the watch, and it's all about perception of time. But the lines are really, really great, and they're beautifully art directed. They're sort of very blue on blue, But I can't think. Can you think of any other watch brands?
And you know what? We talked about it for years at Grand Visual about it with digital out of home. All of those screens are basically computers. They know the time. You know the exact time.
Right, that's interesting.
They know exactly where they are. They know the date, right? All of those watches,
wow,
say 10:10. But if you were playing that on a digital file, you could have it play the right time. You could have it say the right date. And it's just a little subtle thing. You can show the second hand moving in the way that they all do. And I just don't know why they don't. Why people don't do it.
Last thing on watches, do you know what made me think? There is a clock in an airport. I'm going to get a couple.
Oh, Amsterdam.
Where the guy's cleaning it.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Oh,
yeah, it's a digital piece. It's really nice.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
Does that tell us the time?
Tells the time.
The guy's cleaning, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
it's
see that? Good. You just kind of anyway.
We'll put a copy of that on the feed as well because it's very good. We use that all the time as an example of great out of home. It's not advertising anything. It's just a nice piece of.
Let's put that
creative.
up. That's a great show. So I'm gonna come right back at you.
But what else? Did you see anything up in the ski resort though? Because ski resorts are. There's a couple of lift car media companies who obviously you're sat in a bubble lift or sat on a chairlift.
Yeah, no, nothing. I mean, most of the time I was trying to becalm Rach because she
not like
skiing, and I'm going.
She hates skiing or she hates lifts.
And
both.
Me. Yeah, she's not mad on the skiing, and then we'll go down a couple, and I'll go, God, that was the most exhilarating. Natural high you can ever have, and she's looking at me going, I just want to get a coffee.
Yeah. Can we go and get some?
So then after she sits and gets a coffee, and I just keep going until I fall over. But no, there was nothing. There was maps, obviously, which are very useful. Posters.
Yep, but I bet that was covered in ads because they do on the lift maps, don't they?
But no, you're right. It wasn't. I mean, stuff will stand out if it's any good.
Yeah,
remember it. I mean, actually, the watch stuff stood out because it was all very clean, and like you said, it was it was such a captive audience. You couldn't look at anything else. You're literally going down this runway and you're thinking, fuck, it
I
could
wonder
do
how
anything.
they measure the creative or media effectiveness of that sticking it in the airports. I'd really be interested to know.
I love your idea about using it.
We've got a couple of watch brands in our building, and we've consistently trying to tell them to do new things.
Right, I'm going to ask you...
oh, actually, I've got one.
Go on.
IWC did an anamorphic thing on Piccadilly with their watch, where the watch looked like it came out. So we didn't do it, but it was. You
mean good. IWC?
There you go.
Hey, I bought myself that.
As a present to you from you.
Yeah, I love you.
Was
mate.
it a retirement present?
Yeah, it's my 60th. It's a few years ago now. Right, so Dan Dawson, welcome to Behind the Billboard.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Dan
on
is
this side of the table.
Legend of the industry.
Shall we swap places for this bit?
He is the industry, basically.
No.
A man behind some amazing bits of outdoor. Very funny, charming, handsome, tall, got a nice voice. Nothing really wrong with him apart from a Spurs fan, but we're going to give him that.
Hey, we're both doing all right at the moment.
Hey, you're on your tail.
Yeah, you'll be
kind
there.
That fifth or sixth
well,
tail.
fifth might be Champions League as well.
Might be enough.
Yeah.
So Dan and I have known each other for years. Oh no, that'll be the Neverland talk, wouldn't it? Shit, sorry. Dropping into that. So Dan, what have you been up to lately?
You know what? As I said earlier, I've been on a few plane trips recently. Silent John and I went off to Barcelona for a trade show. We go every year. It's recently moved to Barcelona. It's a very good one if you're interested in geeky tech stuff for out of home.
Yeah.
It's called ISE. So we were entertained by some of our partners there, looking at some interesting screens and technology and connected technology.
Is there anything exciting for creatives to go, ooh, that's a bit whizzy?
You know what I think we were most excited by, and it's in the immersive space. So thinking about not just straight up billboards and the kind of the passive stuff, but immersing for interactive purposes. So experiential marketing, and which also is obviously massive and out of home. And we've done our fair share of it with technology, augmented reality, and that kind of stuff. I'm really interested in how we've been looking at XR stages. I don't know if you know what XR is. Extended reality. It's how modern filmmakers are making their films in a studio. So they're effectively building an LED backdrop and floor and sometimes ceiling, and the camera is mapped to the positioning of a real-time rendering engine of the background. So as you've got a person on stage, we move the camera around them, and the scenery of Mars behind them will work in parallax with the camera movement. So it uses a blend of kind of those real-time rendering engines that you see in games like Unreal and Unity, and mapping the points of the camera. So you can have robotic arm cameras, you can have moving cameras, using something called the MOSIS system. So as they move around, you can map the background so that they move accordingly. And I think that is going to be a really interesting space for brands to play in the out-of-home space. When you think about things like the Outernet here in London, and also I've just come back from New York, and some of the spaces where, like the Oculus, which is the big Westfield shopping centre underneath One World Trade Center. There's all these immersive spaces down there ready for brands to take over and do something out of the ordinary. And when you think about that, what we call the value exchange between a consumer and a brand, to get them involved in your product or service, you need to give them something back.
Right.
And I think giving them a piece of content that would work well on their social channels, as well as on the rest of your out-of-home campaign, is going to be the big thing for 2024 and 2025.
Have you got
immerse people in it? And
is it something you have yet to offer to clients, or have any of them picked it up yet? Or
it's definitely been in a few pitch decks, but I think we'll see more of that. I can't see why you wouldn't want to. When you think about turning customers into enthusiasts and enthusiasts into activists, like you need to give them something. We did a few things with like Shake Shack in the US last year, where we were inviting people on a truffle hunt, and they could win burgers and fries and thousands of dollars worth of prizes. Is a very similar mechanic.
Do people do that?
Yeah,
sorry, being
absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and it was a great poster campaign, and it was digital. And there was a theory behind it all as well. It's like we only chose tree-lined avenues because truffles only grow on the roots of trees, and so you would find these units that had the big prizes on by thinking about it being a truffle hunt.
That's cool.
Like in the 2 weeks, there was 20,000 people prizes given away. So for 20,000 prizes given away, we would have had 80,000 people taking part.
So you were in
1 in 4 winners.
Did you go Barcelona and then straight to New York?
Went to Barcelona for 2 days, looked at all these screens and stuff, and spent a bit of time with John looking around the city. So we were looking at there's lots of new digital out-of-home units in Barcelona, which is great. So some of they're actually what we call digital 6-sheet units are amazing. They're really nice street furniture.
How are they different to what we've got?
Brighter, better. They're more modern. The stuff that we've got in bus stops is great, but we've had this for 20 years. While they've updated the screens, these units are very impressive.
Did you see the cathedral? They finished building?
We did. We went over there actually because we went to a meeting, and so I've got a picture of the cathedral. It's not finished yet.
I just love that.
Yeah.
Don't ever finish it, please.
Well, I thought it was supposed to finish last year. They obviously had another delay. But yeah, so came back from Barcelona, a couple of days at home, and then flew off to New York for a week. So yeah, that was.
And was it more of the same in New York? Or?
It was. I've been talking to lots of the media owners in the US.
Right.
So
because you've got Grand Vis.
We've got Grand Visual US office. Right, yep. Yeah. And we've got our parent company Talon are in the US as well. So I spend a lot of time with the team there. When
you go there, because I always, whenever I'm in America, I love, particularly being part of this show, is their outdoor is sort of classic.
It's funny.
It's always bigger. It's always bigger than our outdoor.
It is bigger. But I think you're kind of spoiled a bit in New York because you get. It's the same as London, you get all the big brands advertising. There's a big difference between the major out-of-home markets in the US than rural America out-of-home.
Yeah, I imagine.
And then the biggest thing you'd notice is that in rural America and the kind of smaller markets, it's very much local advertising. I think something like, I don't know the exact stat, but over 70% of their advertising is locally bought.
Right.
And that'll be for, the classic one is to local lawyers, ambulance chasing lawyers wanting to, you broke your truck in a pothole,
So do you think there's a bigger disparity than in England where it's maybe a bit...
It's the other way around in England, I'd say, in the UK and across Europe, that it's more national advertising. And all of the major, it's a much smaller market though, you have to remember. We've got the 5 or 6 major out-of-home media owners, and they have a nationwide footprint, so they can offer bus advertising and
I think the thing about Manhattan I like whenever I go is because it's sort of contained, you can walk it quite, it's the grid system, you can just see so much good stuff in a small area. Whereas in London, you kind of go, bits of Shoreditch are really fucking cool for murals, and then there's other bits, but you can't get it all. Whereas in Manhattan, I suppose you can see loads of good stuff. Yeah,
so one of the things that stood out for me was the next iteration of the Calvin Klein campaign that we talked about on our social.
Jeremy Allen White.
You got over there yet?
This one's from Mikey Robinson.
Is it because you've been watching The Bear that you got obsessed with
that? I fucking love The Bear.
The Bear's brilliant, by the way.
Yeah, Bear's brilliant. And then I obviously was aware of this advertising campaign, but one day I feel generally when I stopped and I said, Rach, look. And she's like, yeah.
I mean, he's hot, right? So
she's just heading off to Boots to get me some sort of ibuprofen on my back. And I'm going, but look. And I start taking photos and but he's so curious looking, isn't he? Because he's not like cliched, chiseled jaw. He's got that slightly Gene Wilder eyes, straight. That's what I like about him.
Yeah.
He's got that sort of thing going on.
A bit kind of normal.
But so, a bit normal.
But so the next iteration of the campaign, in the US at least, is Idris Elba's taking over the Calvin Klein.
Are you allowed to say this?
Well, I've just seen it.
All right.
It's out on the
street. So you can say, I've just said it, so there.
No.
What, so Idris is going to have his Y-fronts?
Well, no, it's slightly different. Yeah. I'll post a picture of it.
I mean, there was the whole thing of FKA twigs, right?
Oh, yeah.
Which was just, I mean, I mentioned it because it's absolutely ridiculous. So the post we put up, or I put up rather, it it was just it's a genuine thing just to talk about Jeremy Allen White and that impact, but it's not to not talk about the ridiculousness of her poster being taken down. It was just crazy, and I read quite a lot up on it. So that wasn't.
What's your opinion? Just double standards?
Triple, dipple, quadruple, just a fucking joke. Like a bit of VAR. Seriously, get it sorted. That's just wrong, and it's so sort of ironic, isn't it? After, I don't know. I don't know. Just they should both be down, or they should both be up. Yeah, but how?
Yeah, the double standards of it. I just wonder if people do complain about it.
I mean, it's funny because I think our podcast, our shtick, a bit is about creativity, and actually wanging on about a Calvin Klein campaign, I think is at the margins of what we do. Yeah, because what's the idea? It's Jeremy Allen White in his pants. Great. Okay, that is an idea, but we're not going to spend loads of time.
But do you remember we spoke to someone else about beauty advertising, and that's the classic beauty advertising piece, isn't it? Yeah. Celebrity endorsement, big name, big Calvin Klein logo on his pants.
Maybe he could do some watches.
Yeah, if he had his hand on his shoulder. 10. Yeah, 10 past 10.
Maybe there's a sort of
bases. Yeah.
But yeah, so okay, that's interesting. So Idris Elba.
Yeah, so I saw that campaign. That was everywhere. Cool. Spent a lot of time on the subway because it seemed like every day there was a meeting downtown. So you spend a lot of time going back.
And do you feel like you are kind of an outdoor show some days in New York because there is so much, or is it still a lot of?
I think you still have to. It's still 90% of it is awful. Yeah, creatively.
Yeah. It doesn't matter if it's really big. It's still.
I took
awful.
This really nice photo of a newish format that you're going to see that you'll see on the New York subway, which we have tube car panels on the underground here, all paper. They've got digital ones. So they cool. There's some interesting opportunities there as a creative landscape. We think about these super landscape formats.
That's nearly like a banner, isn't it?
And they're synchronized as well. So you could do something.
That's cool.
We've got we've got a cruise line client out of the US, and the panoramic vistas that you can see from a cruise ship as part of their advertising would be incredible. So I saw that one, and then I saw this. This is another one, and a similar idea. That it's. I mean, I think it's one of the longest screens in New York. This is in the walkway between the PATH train, which is the suburban rail trains in New York, coming from New Jersey, into Lower Manhattan.
Is that thing with the big spiky?
Yeah, it's the Oculus building.
Yeah, I love that.
It joins the subway and the PATH train locations effectively. And it's one long walkway that goes down there. And this ad was on there all the way along.
So it's a Chanel ad with lots of different
jewelry and all loads
again,
of things.
Not the bit like to the opening chat, like just show me the money, show me the stuff.
It's like show me the product, and it's in a shopping mall. You can see why they do it. But I was talking to someone about this screen. A guy called, two guys, Peter Livesey and James Brenner.
Massive. Sorry, it's absolutely massive.
It's absolutely huge.
It's brilliant.
So I was talking to a guy called Peter Livesey and a guy called James Brenner who run a company called Esprit Digital, who they go into places like this at Westfield and the Underground and all sorts of places around the world. Dubai, they're big business, but they're the people who put in these screens.
Right.
They didn't put this one in, but they were telling me about that screen that all of these LED screens have a shelf life, and that one's coming towards the end of its life. And I said, wow. I mean, it's still pretty impressive and bright, but the technology changes so quickly that they can upgrade that one, have a better pitch, so better quality.
But surely, if you use that well, I mean, it's quite neat and tidy. It's well art directed. But if you had a good enough idea,
yeah.
I mean, are we allowed to talk about Euston? No, Waterloo and your OVO thing.
Oh, the Euston Motion thing. Yeah, that was good. That's the launch of a new screen up there. And we've been doing something for one of the big energy companies, which has been great. It's launched 2 weeks ago, I think. But smart thing with Saatchi and Saatchi.
That
it was
good.
looking at when the greenest points in they're contributing to the grid. So when wind and solar are contributing most of the grid and activating creative accordingly.
Great.
So yeah, it's good.
So what about, can I bring you all the way back down to earth and to the end of your street instead of Barcelona and Manhattan?
So having spent the last 2 weeks pretty much traveling, some interesting stuff in the Puma store as well in New York. Kind of immersive stuff. They're a Formula One sponsor, so they've got all these immersive zones in their
Nice.
in their flagship store.
That's cool.
So yeah, having gone, I'm just going back through my photo reel because I do like to take.
This is great listening. There's two men looking at their phones. I reckon we're going to get the highest ever.
This is the one. So when we realised that it was going to be you and I this morning, I jumped out of the car on the way to the station, and I took a picture of this one. Now, it's not quite a 48 sheet. It looks like a heart, or maybe it's 2/3 of a 48 sheet.
Right.
And
new format.
I've noticed this site before because it's on my walk from the station to my car. And there's never any big brands on it. So I'm wondering if it is local advertising only. But, well, I'll let you do the honours.
No, you need to describe the poster for me.
Here you go. Right.
What's it like, Dan?
So not a 48 sheet. It's more like maybe it's a 36 sheet or a 29 sheet.
29.
It's an advert. I don't live in Guildford, but I drive to Guildford Station, just so you know. Experience Guildford, which is a new app that's been launched, presumably by the town of Guildford, where you can experience offers, events, shopping, leisure, nightlife, history. And it's got an ad for you to download it from the App Store or from the Google Play Store. It gives you pointers to whether you can find them on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter.
Right. So I think we can safely say that's giving mine a run for its money in the sort of shitness stakes. Or...
Download Experience Guildford app now is the call to action and headline.
Is that the place for it?
Oh, it's just, honestly.
How many typefaces?
Okay.
We could sort of do top trumps, can you?
Oh, actually, in fairness, there's only the 2 typefaces.
All right, well, that's not bad.
Yeah,
okay,
so it's hugely disappointing. But to be honest, I don't think Guildford advertising is representative of the UK market. I think...
No.
I don't think it's like it is in the US where 70% is local advertising. I think that's a bit of an anomaly.
It's a bit weird because I was jumping. I actually did see some... The one at the end of my street is quite nice. It's a 48. It's proper, but it sometimes does have really good stuff on it. Like, you know, you go, oh, that's a good ad, that.
One I saw today, which is pretty basic, but I think it worked. Sky Sports are launching their tennis channel.
Right.
And it was just Sky Sports Tennis, and it was on the side of a tennis ball. It was a big close-up of a tennis ball, and it just said, starts February something or other.
That's all right.
I was like,
Doing
it's
what
fine.
It says on the tin.
Exactly. Like you've told me that Sky Sports Tennis is coming. It looks like a big tennis ball. Great. I've got it, and it's embedded.
Shall I? We might be close to wrapping up.
We might. Yeah, we have.
I might do a tiny tech results. From John.
Oh yeah.
Which you're obviously aware of, but I could tell the listeners what countries this show is listened to.
Oh yeah,
that'd be interesting.
Okay. That'd be interesting.
So
we need to read back. We need to read out that bit of feedback as well.
Yeah. So top countries, obviously United Kingdom 64%, United States 11%, and then Australia coming in with 4%, and then the following all have 1%. And I would love to meet the people listening in Netherlands, Denmark, Germany, Ireland, Italy, Sweden, Canada.
Brilliant.
So hi to everyone in far places.
So we need to get my friend Paul on from Australia.
And we've also got 1,500 followers on our Instagram. That's from nothing, and no fucker has helped us. Isn't that called organic?
That's organic.
Yeah. So we have never bought a follower. So we felt quite good about that.
Maybe we should buy some.
Yeah. And then do you want to read out that comment from, I've got it here. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. This is a. Oh, here we go. This is
so we got quite a lot of feedback, mostly good and mostly interesting. Thank you. Keep it coming. But this one was curious, wasn't it?
In fairness, this was It was over a year ago.
Yeah. We're all over our socials.
Yeah. This is how good we are. In fairness, 5 stars.
Yeah.
So it's a 5-star review, and title is Great Stuff. This is from Red Card Rog. So Rog, thank you very much for this great feedback. We've definitely taken it to heart. Just listen to another episode back of your podcast. I'm always telling everyone I know that they should be listening to it. The vicar was the only one who didn't seem too keen. Maybe it's the explicit language. There's only one tiny niggle. Can someone please edit out the sniffing? It was driving me mad on episode 25, the Nils Leonard one. Was it Dan or Hugh sniffing a load of lines? Surely you're past all that. Otherwise, brilliant stuff. Keep riding that pony, Rog.
Can I just say, Rog, thank you very much for that feedback. It's been a difficult week. No.
I think it shows what troopers we are to carry on going when we've got a tiny cold.
I think, we had a cold. I actually can't work out whether that was Nils in our bedrooms.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, so it could have been one of those.
So it could have been lines of coke.
Or I think, or when we're in the B&Q special.
I don't know.
Anyway, thanks for pointing that out. I mean, yeah. I can categorically...
All feedback is good feedback.
Yeah. We would never do that. We are hyper professional. We might slurp tea and chew flapjacks.
But what we got coming up anyway, because we should trail some of the amazing people we've got coming in over the next few weeks. So
we have got Paul Brazier coming in, or Braze as he's known.
Braze.
He's the other half. Well, he was the other half of Peter Suter. So we've briefed Braze because he's got so much amazing work that he can't say any of the stuff that Suter said. But we're going to allow him to talk about industrial secrets for sale. So that's him. There's Rachel Miles. So Rachel is a little superstar. She was at the BBC Creative for quite some time. She was at B&B before that, and now she's at Meanwhile, the big, not the big, the new startup in Manchester. But they're like big, as in they've got great people there. Tim and James from the BBC, and they've been nominated at Campaign for Best Startup. So Rachel's a creative director there with her partner, and so she's done some great work. Primarily the poster that caught fire for the planet. But there's a really interesting thing she's got. It's that they did a film for the Tokyo Olympics. I don't know if I told you, and inside the film they made billboards. So she said, it's a really clever idea. Why don't we talk about the billboards that were featured within the film? Because they're all beautifully constructed. They're all in Japanese. They're really, really cool. So there's that. Was there someone else? Steve Hudson. So Steve Hudson I've known for years. Steve was a very famous creative at BBH with Victoria Fallon. And then we've also got Phil and Graham. Phil and Graham are a legendary team. I bought my house off Phil. Sorry. Phil's a great guy, so is Graham. Graham has been immortalised in a mural in a building in Stoke Newington. So not only has he written great work, he's appeared on it. And we've also got a Dubai special.
Yeah.
So this is a real kind of stroke of luck. A great friend of the show, Paul Banham, who I've known for years and worked with. He works out in Dubai. Paul's really, really well respected out there. Has done a fabulous job. Has won shitloads of Canton Lions, and we're going to talk about a few of those with him. So it'd be really interesting to get a point of view of what outdoor is like, over there, just as a general convo anyway, but to hear about the work that Paul's done. So yeah, we've got loads coming up, very, very mixed bunch of guests. And of course, we've got our BA special. So the BA special, we haven't got the date yet, but it's definitely going to be at Uncommon. It's definitely going to be an early evening job, and we're definitely going to invite people if they want to come along, put some questions, go to the pub after. So just watch our socials for that.
It's good.
Mate, that's it. Yeah, I know. Got a day job as well, haven't you? Well, I haven't, but you. You're doing all right, mate.
Yeah, it's good.
Okay, well, look, thanks for coming in, Matt. Really
thank you for coming in.
Yeah, no,
it's so
honestly,
good.
Look.
And yeah, we've got Kate from Mother who was due to be with us today. So if you're listening, Kate, hope you feel better, and we'll have you in again soon.
Get better, Kate. There's loads of
got loads of great work to talk through with you as well. So
yeah, no, look.
So
thanks, Talon.
Thanks to Grand Visual. Thanks to Soho Radio. Thanks to you, Hugh.
And thanks to you, Dan. Love you, man.
Love you, man.
Do you think think in the
Do
middle.
you feel like you're being grilled when you're? Oh, it's like
That's really weird at the beginning. Going, I reckon in the middle there's going to be a lull, and then everyone's just going to be like, yeah,
yeah.
stop the watch, chap.